Okay, so next up we have how NFTs are democratizing the film industry. We have Jake Fraser, Asif Bashir, Veronica Walter, Violeta M. Valcheva, and Bucks. I'm so excited. I got to meet Bucks in a Twitter space recently. Very excited to hear what they're doing over at Gala Films.
Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us. I should really start with, lights, camera, blockchain, because we're here to talk about how NFTs are democratizing the world of film. I want to do this slightly differently. I'm Asif Bashir, co-founder, CEO of Film Token. What I'm going to do is get everyone just to introduce themselves, and it'd be nice just for everyone just to give their first kind of, interaction and experience with what an NFT was before we talk about the world of film. So, start with yourself.
Should I go first? Yay! Hi guys, I'm Bucks. I work for Gala. It might be a company you've heard of, it might not be. Gala Games is based in America, in actual fact. And we launched into music earlier this year, and we've just released we're about to release some very big news, but we've just gone into the film industry as well, because we believe that Web3 entertainment is absolutely the future. My first interaction with an NFT should have been to buy a punk, which I didn't do, which was a mistake. So I think one of the, and it's not to start on a negative, but one of the early things that many people did in the space was to go into Nifty Gateway and start supporting some of the artists there. And I think what happened very, very quickly as the crypto market took off and digital art took off, people got very quickly very greedy. And the drops started becoming more and more frequent, and the artists seemed to be getting less and less happy about this. And I think that's something that we need to watch out in film as film starts to come into this space, same as gaming, same as music, any of the creative genres, is to really stick to why the hell we were doing this in the first place. Because as soon as you lose sight of that, all we're doing is recreating every single problem and every single VC return that ever was happening in Web 2. So my first interaction with an NFT, hopefully in Web 3 and film with another company other than Gala, will hopefully be a bit more positive and be very much about the creator and not the commercial.
Well said. My name is Veronica, or Rona Walter. I'm part of Serenity Pictures, and we are three of us. We are three filmmakers. We work in the film industry professionally since 2008, I believe. Time flies there. So, we made a couple of feature films. And I keep my story about the first NFT very brief, because it's a very long one. So a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, we made my first feature film. And it was self-funded, and we managed to finish principal photography 2 days before the lockdown, and nobody knew what that was because we were so busy. So of course we hadn't checked the news. Suddenly the world was gone, and we sat there with a finished photography. So we used part of the lockdown to finish the movie with our team in post-production, and then we thought, okay, we have a lot of offers, but none of them were really intriguing for us. So we went for a cheeky birthday bash that happened illegally in someone's house. And he said he just bought that house with NFTs. And I said, okay, what do I need? What is that? And he explained to us, and he said, well, if you go to Cardano blockchain, I'm sorry for the, Cardano, you will be the first feature film on blockchain, because there are films, but they're short films, or if they're feature films, they're not on blockchain, they're just with tickets. And we said, okay, we can do that. So we got a team that built the technology, and 4.5 months later, Toxica, my movie, was released. It's the first NFT on a blockchain. So you mint it, you go and get yourself some popcorn, and then you click play in your wallet, and it plays in your wallet. It comes with a link in case you have a really big-ass screen at home, but usually you can watch it in your wallet in high quality. So yeah, that was basically our first interaction with NFTs. And we have released our second movie now, and right this moment we are working on our third feature film.
Hey guys, what's up? Hopefully everyone's having a good day at the conference here. My name's Jake. I work for a company called Mogul Productions. We are a company based out of Canada, and the main problem we're solving within the film industry is giving independent filmmakers new avenues to drive financing for their production. So typically, we partner with indie filmmakers that have a great story or piece of IP, and we kind of package it up into an NFT campaign and kind of present that to the market to drive direct financing to kickstart their production. So we've been building now for close to 4 years. We've got several 100,000 people in that community. We financed 3 films last year, and there's about 15 to 20 in the pipeline for the next 6 months or so. And yeah, really, really grateful to be here. And I guess my first experience with NFTs, I live in Vancouver, so NBA Top Shot, some of you guys might be familiar with that if you're in the sports space. They're based out of Vancouver, a company called Dapper Labs, and that was kind of like first impression. But yeah, I think they've obviously still been around today, and they've been pretty successful. But yeah, excited to be diving into the film world with you guys.
Okay, I'm the last one. Can you all hear me? Yes. Nice. So my name is Violeta. I'm also a filmmaker and an interdisciplinary creator. I actually entered the space more from a DeFi point of view, and then my first interaction with NFTs was I was working in the NFT marketplace, so it was not me particularly creating, but I was actually working and building things in the space. And I realized, okay, I'm actually a filmmaker. I do different AR and different experiences. So I try to actually experience with technology and how can actually film and storytelling could be give creators and give myself a space to tell stories in a different way. So I play with that a lot. I also create my own films. I already had a small NFT collection, one of which was also collected by Wall Fund. And I have even one of my collectors here. Yeah, I mean, in general, I'm right now specifically interested in how AI and how coding and how actually decentralized technology can help us out as creators to create like films and interactive storytelling in a more particular way. So yeah, I also do different things within the space. I work in like a green tech focus, and we're also organizing festival with other creators and filmmakers. And in general, I'm very curious how interdisciplinary work could help everyone to uplift each other. Because within film, we can all agree on that. We need to rely on each other, and you have all kinds of different elements to make actually the film itself. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Thank you so much. Super happy to be here with everyone.
Thank you. And it's really interesting because my first interaction with NFTs, I struggled to understand why people were paying so much money for pictures, JPEGs. And it's interesting because although I've been involved in the world of publishing film and television for the last 7-8 years, I've got 25 years of IT. I was involved in .coms and Web 1 and Web 2, and then I thought I've escaped it. And I kind of struggled. But it then kind of dawned upon me that there is something here that we can use in the world of film. And first and foremost, I think we need to just kind of take a step back and think about the world of film. And the world of film has so many opportunities for change, and we call it disruption, whatever word we want to use. And it kind of starts off in terms of financing your project, right through to then connecting with the audience. And typically what happens is, we make a movie, and then we're kind of relying on distribution to connect with the fans. Well, what NFTs can do is a lot more. And I just want to throw a question to yourself, because from what you just shared with us earlier about breaking even on your film as well as a filmmaker, that opportunity you saw, what exactly kind of enticed you to kind of connecting with the fans?
Well, for one, it was so many opportunities. So the thing is, we knew the film industry very, very well. And when we came into the realm of NFTs, we suddenly faced what is basically the opposite of the film industry in terms of like mentality, in terms of teamwork, in terms of people offering help without expecting you to pay them back. So they just said, look, we don't know how you're doing what you want to do, but if you need help, we're here. And this community on Cardano actually helped us a lot more to find out what we actually wanted to do. So they were the ones who said, look, how do you get that movie out there? So they helped us finding spaces. They helped us with our PFPs, because we basically have PFPs which we minted. They came in different versions of our movie hero, or female hero, Augusta, and she came with different 1990s outfits and everything, like according to the film. And each of them unlocked different utilities. So people kept collecting them, wanting behind the scenes, wanting something special like a director's commentary, or wanting something like, I don't know, gag reel, and we have a lot of those, or making of. So movie poster, printable, it's massive, this is beautiful. So yeah, that was basically how we started finding out who mints these PFPs. Are people actually interested in watching behind the scenes of a movie that is not out yet? And when we found out a number, that was the moment we said, okay, we're gonna mint so and so many movies. And the movies minted rather quickly, and we found out that we might be very early to the party, but yet had a fair chance of revolutionizing this kind of film distribution that is more sustainable for filmmakers, because we are now, for the past 5 years, indie filmmakers. Before we worked in the industry. And making these movies, obviously you sit there with a certain amount of money not in your bank account. And if it wasn't for the bear market, we would have made our money back within literally 3 months. The whole investment, the entire budget. And that was something I thought, okay, so I can make a movie I want to do. I'm not puppeteered by film, producers. And I can make my movie, I can tell my story, but I also can make my money back. And with a movie that is rather unique, because Toxica is not your average, it's very 1990s, it's body horror, Lovecraftian, it's all practical effects, it's nothing that is made today anymore, right? Like for modern audiences, it is certainly not. So it's rather cheeky. So yeah, it was good to see you can actually make a movie and get your money back as well, which is rare nowadays.
And Jake, what about your thoughts on this whole?
Yeah, look, I think it's obviously two sides of the coin, right? So on the one side, you've actually got the creatives and the filmmakers, and historically, it's been a pretty long, arduous process to drive financing if you're independent creative. So unless you have connections at a big studio or a production house, it can be inherently quite difficult to get financing. So I guess from our point of view, that is the area that we're focused on to ensure fantastic stories from all around the world actually get told and kind of make it to the cinema. So that's the first part of it. And then on the second side of the coin, you've got the fans. So also in the past, consuming content through a streaming platform or going to the cinema, that's generally the extent that you would engage with a film. So now what we've seen through NFTs and how that's bringing in a new audience is actually giving them the ability to be part of the full script-to-screen process. So everything from development level all the way through to distribution. So to give you guys some context on like what that looks like, you can have everything from going to a in real life red carpet event with the cast and crew. You could be on set with the lead actors and actresses. You can get signed versions of scripts, physical props from on set. There's about 30 to 40 different use cases that we're working with at the moment to kind of bring the fans closer to the action, both on a virtual and physical level. And also have built about 6 or 7 virtual film cinemas in the metaverse to actually have a new distribution platform for people to consume content in a really immersive way, kind of looking into the future. So that's a few of the thoughts around, fan engagement at the moment.
Anything you'd like to add?
I think it's like very good points, all of those that you guys made. I think in terms of purely on the part as creators, as filmmakers, first connecting with your own community and what you just mentioned, getting even feedback and getting information from them, it's something that is very valuable. And to add on to that, it kind of develops like it's a different set of skills for us filmmakers. First, how to interact within the space, within the technology, but also how you can actually market yourself in a more natural way. So it's not about going to the big studios and hope that you can have a specific connection or you can apply for fundings and all that, but you can have kind of like a more mixed way to raise funds and to break even, as you just mentioned. So I think it just expands on opportunities, and there is a lot to learn from each other as well. And the space itself, when we're talking about being decentralized, democratized, it gives you the information and it's for free, and people are usually very, very open for you to give you feedback or introduce you, which is not really necessarily the case in film industry, especially like for the bigger productions. So I think that's kind of like my add-on to that, which collides with what you guys just said as well.
So just moving that forward then, why do you think democratization of content is so important?
For a lot of reasons. That's probably not a good enough answer. What these guys have touched on, I think, is really important because they started talking about experience. They said the words break even, which, I think if you've got talent, guys, you should be making money. Just throwing that out there because everybody's been making money off of you so far. And that's why we're here. So gaming, as mentioned at the beginning, is twice the size of music and film combined. Not everybody on the planet listens or plays video games. Most people on the planet enjoy music. Most people on the planet enjoy some form of content by people like these guys. So democratization of content is a couple of things. One, it's access, which is what they were talking about. And just to give you a sense of this, when we come into a space, we do it properly. So we're working with $7, which is Dwayne Johnson's company. We're working with Mark Wahlberg. We're working with Chuck Russell, who was the guy that pioneered CGI really with the mask and gave people he will say that he didn't give Jim Carrey his break, but he totally gave Jim Carrey his break. So you've got to come in and you've got to do content properly, and you've got to do it in a way that's meaningful. And when you democratize content, it does two things. One, it puts the people producing the content in control. It gives them visibility that they've never had before, access to fans, access to the commercials. Things like gaming is important because you can gamify experiences. You can put Easter eggs in things. You can create experience around things. This isn't about a superfluous NFT that once the movie's launched, I've gone to a show, I've gone on the red carpet, what the hell do I do with an NFT? And therefore, did I need an NFT in the first place? The answer is no. In a democratized system, it's a system, it's an ecosystem. It should deliver value for the long term. If it's on the blockchain, it's on the blockchain forever. So there's no point in doing something that could be solved between a QR code, a database, and a nice bit of UI. You're wasting your time. So think differently with blockchain. Think about, if I'm owning a piece of content, what does that mean for me long term? So on the Gala Film platform, for example, independent creators can come on, they put their film, whether it's a movie, a documentary, there's loads of different formats up there. Yes, we will work with Netflix. Yes, we're talking to HBO. Yes, we're talking to CNN, because every time that piece of film gets played on one of those platforms, the creator gets paid and the fan gets rewarded because they own a piece of content. And that is what's so, I think, exciting. And then you even go into interoperability, which I won't. But just imagine for a second why a gaming company would be interested in music and working with some of the biggest music artists in the world, and then why we would care about film. Because that's a trifecta of entertainment. When it starts working together, it becomes incredibly powerful for everyone involved, creator and fan alike. So that's a very long answer to a very short question.
Thank you. Does anyone want to add to that? It's an easy question, right?
Absolutely, and just like to touch on the kind of fan engagement aspect from like a product standpoint is we've been working with like technology called quadratic voting, and basically what that is, it's like it's a way to have like an on-chain voting system where it's inherently safe and kind of like you can't tamper with it, so you can't have whales manipulating votes on certain things. So to give you a bit of context around that, you could present like 3 lead actors for a film and maybe they're all fantastic options from the creative side, but you actually give your community of NFT holders the ability to vote on who you want to see play the lead role in a film, and you're kind of doing that all within the kind of ecosystem. So things like that, it's really giving the chance for a film fan to participate in the filmmaking process where previously that's been completely unheard of. So yeah, I think it's just having new Web3 technologies is enabling people to get more involved in quite innovative ways.
Aren't we a bit worried that films could get really crappy if the entire community, like, I love panels, but sometimes we all just agree with each other, and then everyone sits there like, yeah, guys, you're all good friends. But genuinely, like, you guys, you know, you're making films, right? You know what good quality is. I think there has to be a little bit of, you know, this isn't crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Seeders, all this kind of stuff. You know, it never really took the film industry by storm, because filmmakers that I've spoken to freaking hate the idea of not having security to employ the actors they want, so therefore you compromise on talent, of having somebody sitting in the background saying, like me, going, I think it should be pink. They're going to tell me where to go. They're like, no, you don't need that character in that film, but sod off. Like, I've been making films for 20 years. So where's the barrier with you guys? Is this about raising money, or is this about releasing great content? Because I think there is a tension there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is quite a common rebuttal to when I say that, which is completely understandable. But basically, the voting mechanism gets, it's ultimately up to whoever owns the IP or the creative for the film, which in this case, the producers or whatever. But typically what we're seeing is, like, if you can have 3 fantastic options creatively and position that to an audience, give them the element of choice, then you're either way, creatively, you're going to win, but you don't want to butcher the film, because as a creative, that's the most important thing. Is
so it's a menu, right?
Yeah, it's a menu, as opposed to, like, hey, I want to choose purple on this. It's like you actually present several options, and they're all great options creatively, but that you kind of give the element of choice to the public.
So I'm just conscious of time. So I'm just going to go around and ask everyone what they think are the key challenges for wider adoption of NFTs in the world of film and television. It can be from a creative perspective, it could be from a fan perspective.
I think in terms of wide adoption in general, for film specifically, is the technology and the language which is used. I find that, you know, let's say Web2 filmmakers, they get really, really confused when we start talking about blockchain and NFTs, smart contracts, and so forth. So there needs to be some kind of more simplified way for them to enter the space, first of all. And I mean, that's also on us, you know, to actually we can present them in it. And the more you get into the space, the more you get to learn. It's not something that you learn overnight. And ideally would be that we can come to a space, to the place where, let's say, a certain product that will be given to the, let's say, Gala platform and what you guys are doing, you know, which kind of enables more filmmakers. It's just like UX design, purely operational, without even needing to know that it's like blockchain decentralized. So I think that's going to be that's the case with all kinds of aspects in Web3, you could say that. Yeah, I think that's the one thing. And also to kind of like change the mentality of, okay, that's actually not the way I need to go, and change mentality in general, the idea of collaboration, royalties, how you can actually navigate that, and producers. I feel like production companies are a big thing as well. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Cool. Yeah, just really quick, I think the biggest challenges, at least for the film space, is actually having A-list talent and kind of big films that have household names that are actually bringing the eyeballs in to get people to turn their head and actually take notice. Because if you do it through the indie route, it's a slow burn. We kind of saw this with the film industry, which I'm sure Sarah's heavily involved in. But that's kind of like was an industry that blew up really quickly because you had big A-list rappers like promoting NFTs, and that drew mainstream adoption. So I think for the film space, you kind of need some big names to start getting behind it, which is that'll bring more people in.
Well, I would say what was our challenge, I can just speak for Serenity now, but was getting the word out. How do you actually reach enough people? How do you spread the word actually? And telling people, look, there's a movie on the blockchain, right? How do you make them understand what that is? How do you also spread the word in other, you know, film festivals? We spoke at Sitges Film Festival the other week, and it was very interesting what the reaction was from fellow filmmakers. I could have just as well suggested a Roman orgy. It would have been the same reaction. I kid you not. It was, but it was interesting that at least 4 or 5 people were interested enough to talk to us afterwards, which was nice. But I also think what will be in the future maybe a little bit difficult is, like you said, getting filmmakers to readapt into a world that is so very different from the one we know And for us, it was easier to adapt because we're all a little bit geeky, we're all a little bit different. We never really 100% fit into the film industry from our mentality and the way we work. So getting filmmakers into the NFT realm and make them understand this is how it works. You can collaborate, you can ask for help, and you don't need to pay them back right away, and you also need to be open-minded a little more. I think that will be something interesting to work on.
Thank you. I think we're out of time.
All I would say is content. That's what you need. Decent fricking content. Stop talking about blockchain. Stop talking about NFTs. Stop worrying about technology. Create something people want, and they will come and find it. And we are going to put Hollywood on the blockchain, and then people will be there, and they won't care that it's blockchain. It's just that everybody involved in that will benefit. So don't tell them, show them. Done.